Hey, Pastor DP here. I want to read from Psalm 63. It says, "O God, you are my God. Earnestly I seek you. My soul thirsts for you. My flesh faints for you, as in a dry and weary land where there is no water." Verse 2, "So I have looked upon you in the sanctuary, beholding your power and your glory." I remember years ago sitting in a meeting with a bunch of leaders in our church. We were going to buy a building for the church, and it was a very expensive building, and we knew that it was going to have to be a God thing. He was going to provide in 1,000 ways. So I remember sitting in the building. We had charts and graphs and spreadsheets, out, and we were doing pros and cons, and we were talking about location versus square footage, and all these details, and the meeting was going on and on and on. And finally, we're just like, somebody said, "Hey, I think we should pray about this." And one of the guys said, "Yeah, it's come to that." I remember thinking, and he was kind of rebuking us, saying, "Okay, we've done all this strategy. We've done all of our due diligence. We've done all the financial work. We've even calculated where the building faced directionally based on where the sun was going to be, where windows. We've done all of that, crazy architectural work, all of it, but we had not yet prayed." And I heard a mentor years ago say this to me. He said, "Darren, when you are desperate, you will pray. When you are desperate, you will pray." And in some ways, we don't pray unless we're desperate. This is what the psalmist is saying. He said, "God, my thirst, my soul thirsts for you. I'm dry, I'm weary, I need water. I am desperate. Like a man who is dehydrated needs water. I'm that desperate. I'm dying of thirst. I need you." This is desperation. Now, there's something about public worship, gathered worship, that makes me feel my desperation a little more. I don't totally understand the way it works, but I love, a bunch of people in a room worshiping, or even it's a small group of people. It just kind of highlights the fact that we're all desperate, and I think it helps me feel my own desperation. Well, we can't really do that right now, can we? We can't gather together. The psalmist says in verse 2, so "I looked upon you in the sanctuary," or in the midst of corporate worship, "and I beheld your power and your glory." In other words, what makes me more desperate and more dependent is when I seek you with other people. Well, we can't really do that, but in a weird way we can, because guess what? You have a chance now to go to multiple churches. And I always discourage this. Don't be a church hopper. Be focused, be faithful, and do that. But guess what now? Because churches are online, because all kinds of churches and pastors and leaders are putting out content, you can literally behold God's power and his glory in this sanctuary that is called his world, and see what God is doing everywhere and be encouraged by it. Be faithful to your church, but realize you're in a small C church, and there is a big C church that God is building. And let's ask God to help us see that. Lord, help us to be desperate for you. Help us to see what you're doing in the world. And we thank you that you're using this crisis, this pandemic, for your good and for our good and your glory. Amen. Hey guys, Pastor DP here. So grateful you're participating in 3-Minute Sermon. We're currently in a series up and to the left in 1 Peter. You can get more information there if you want it. How do you live out your faith in a hostile world? What does it look like to suffer but then trust God? That's what we're in 1 Peter. We also taught you how to pray down here and to the left. You're going to see a place where you can learn about the Lord's Prayer. How do you orient your life around prayer? What does it look like to use the Lord's Prayer daily in a way that's not mechanical, but that's actually very motivating? And also, if you haven't subscribed, we would love this content to come directly to you. You can do that down to the right, and that just helps us understand what kind of content you want and need, helps you comment and let us know what's going on. So please subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for participating in 3-Minute Sermon.